Hi everyone and welcome to Scrap Saturday. I am going to be altering a photo frame, kind of like a shadow box too, like it's a two-in-one deal. And I was actually quite happy I had never opened it up until today, or actually right now as you're watching this. So I didn't know how deep that shadow box actually really was, so it was a happy surprise for me. I usually buy these wood frames from my local dollar store, and I have been hoarding it for a little while, always saying that I'm going to do this beach theme type shadow box photo frame. And here I was trying to decide what photo I wanted to use, and I had showed you in my scrapbook room tour that I had this Christmas photograph up on my bulletin board, and I really like it. It was from a couple of years ago, my daughter's birthday party that we had at my parents' cottage, and we all dressed up in luau type costumes, like it was a Hawaiian theme type birthday party. And my husband plays the ukulele. I laugh at that because when I met him so many years ago, if you had ever told me that he was going to be playing the ukulele, I would have laughed like that and said, really? Not in a bad way. I'm actually so proud of him that he has the courage to, think outside the box, no pun intended, and trying to, learn things that he thinks are fun or things that are important to him. So I'm quite proud of him for always trying to, not limit himself or grow and learn new things. So self-taught, he plays the guitar sometimes, but yes, I really enjoyed this photo, and usually when we do go out with family or we go to the cottage, I do try to carry my Canon camera with me so that I can take some amazing photos. So as I see this one and the other one that I was playing with earlier, I do miss that quality that I've talked about so many times with you, that it's just a crisper image and just so much more detail, especially when I change it to black and white or sepia. The pattern paper that I'm using is the Crate Paper DIY collection, and I love it. It's got the right tones for the summertime turquoise, even this sunburst type paper here. But at first I really feel that I'm going to be using the collage in its entirety, and I cut around as much as I can. I have never really layered pattern paper, almost like as if I was doing a layout, so kind of bringing in my style a little bit. And I don't want to lose too much of the wood grain paper, but funny how sometimes when you use background paper, it either loses itself in the translation of, what you're doing. And here is just a bag of shells. These are not shells that we collected on our vacation or anything like that. I do believe those kinds of shells, that even if we bring like a few home, which I know you're not supposed to, they kind of disintegrate or get banged up in the luggage or whatnot. So these are just from, again, my local dollar store in the craft area, and I really liked it because there was a lot of greens and turquoise. I hope that's their natural color. I think that's their natural color. So that was the purpose of picking up that. And these are my peony flowers that, again, I've had these for a very long time. I believe when my dollar store had like a wedding type section with all these little flowers and paper flowers, I bought a gazillion of them. And I'm kind of running low, so eventually once I go through all of my stock, I will have to do like an I Am Roses or something like that haul and pick up some stuff, because once in a while I do quite enjoy using them, especially for my altered stuff. Here I'm using the Heidi Swapp Primrose, and let me tell you, I mean, video does no justice, and in the end I will have some amazing close-up pictures, but even still in real life, you have to come to my house and see. It's just so awesome. And to be honest with you, I believe that it turned out so much better than I wanted it to, because I was so careful not to overdo it with the pink. And I really just kind of like tapped it like 2 or 3 times just to give it a touch of, and I think they turned out to be pretty tropical if you ask me, and I love it. And here I was just fighting with the end of that paintbrush. It's got dried up paint on the end because I do so many things with that, and so it wasn't allowing me to slide my little curls off as eloquently as I wanted to. But you know what? It wouldn't be a Monica video if there wasn't some fumbling. So here I'm trying to make a little loop of very thick twine to anchor the bottom of my flowers. And I'm going to purposely do the ones with the pink on them just because I like them the most. I just, again, I don't want to be too repetitive, but they're so yummy. They're so pretty. That's my well-loved paint tray. Yes, it is. And eventually I'll have to buy a new one. I don't know how long I've had that one. And no, I never wash it out. Sorry. Bad. That's my gold paint from the dollar store. I don't have any fancy expensive paints. I don't know if expensive paints work better or not. I just love my gold and silver that I purchased from there. And it's not really opaque. It's a bit translucent, so it gives you just enough that your wood grain from your own altering pieces that you're doing kind of shines through a bit, and I really like that. I mean, it does give you that beautiful shimmer, and it does stand out, and if you distress it or do anything else to it, it does hold its goldness, but at the same time, it's not overpowering that it looks like, you know, a fake piece of gold something or other. So then I poured out some gray dollar store paint as well. That one is very liquidy and very much like a white wash or a gray wash in this instance. And then I muted out my turquoise paint with some white just to give it that, I'm calling it the beachy turquoise whitewash look. And thank goodness for heat guns because it really saves me quite a bit of time. Funny, today I was watching a video by Angela and she has this dental pick that she uses, and it helps her retrieve the papers that she places inside for sizing. And let me tell you, excuse me, I have to go on the hunt for some dental picks so that I can retrieve my paper. So here's where I start to think, you know, I love the collage the way it is, and I don't know what's throwing me off or why not, so I go ahead and I just cut the two little photos right off. And in my heart, it does make me sad because I wanted to, you know, everyone. I'm not in the big trio picture, but that's okay. I think I'll use the other two small ones for something else. And I kind of left it up there for wishful thinking. Maybe I was going to put it on the outside. I'm not sure. So the flowers do take quite some time to dry, even though I practically, you know, burn them. There's so much smoke in my room as I try to dry these flowers. And I believe one day, I'm pretty sure one of them will explode. And during this video, or not during the video, but during the process of altering this box, I burnt my finger with hot glue with my heat gun, and it was a little bit shaky today. I was a little bit tired. Even though I have a very short work week here in Canada, it's our Victoria Day long weekend. So I just was so excited to have an extra day off for myself. But I think I overdid it on the 3 days that I did go to work. So I wasn't as confident as I usually am. So yeah, hence the accidents, but it's okay. So here I'm just using a little bit of extra foam because the box is so deep. I really did want the photo to come out a little bit more, and I just loved the look of it, the layering in between. So I kind of put as much as I wanted to of that foam backing in between the layers, just created more shadow and depth between the two pattern papers, and I love the way it looked. And it is going to sit a little bit higher on top in the shadow box. There's a couple of reasons. Once it's propped up on itself, it doesn't have like a leg or an anchor to the back. It just kind of rocks on a degree angle when it sits upright from the front cover of that shadow box. And so the photo sitting up high helps me out for a few reasons. It helps me so that I can fill it up with, you know, awesome, cute little, you know, seashells all over the place. But it also helps you to see it nicely once it's sitting on my table upstairs. So, and I know that a little bit of what I do with the close-up was just so that you can see a little bit more detail, but it's a little bit off camera just for a little while. And it's only because, you know, when I'm doing this, I don't even think I look at the viewfinder. Honestly, I posted it on my Instagram, you know, to show my family members what I had created today, and I do believe that what I had written was, I get lost in what I do, and I get so giddy like a child that creates their first piece of artwork. And honestly, it's just so much fun to share, you know, what I make and how joyous I feel when I am creating like this. So we do have a lot of, you know, beach themey pictures and stuff like that, and I've always wanted to, like I said, do this type of a shadow box, and it's very trendy now in the stores. When I go to Winners and stuff like that, I do see a lot of frames that are already done up and ready for your picture. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago when I was out shopping and I saw one and I thought, I can do this, and I've got a frame, and I even picked up the seashells, so it was just stalling. And then once I had finished today, was just radiant. I was beaming. I just felt so happy, and I thought, look what I did. And so it's just nice to have a decorative piece that I can rotate out. I mean, I can tuck it away and you know, store it properly in one of my bins once the winter time comes, because I think it's very themey, and I understand not everybody wants to have, you know, their house cluttered up with, you know, things that they don't want to look at all year round. So that's kind of my little tip too. Like, you know, it's like the mini album situation where people ask, you know, where would you store this and what would you do with it? So I kind of started going into putting mini albums into photo boxes so it looks neater on a bookshelf. But the same tip goes for anything that I do that's decorative. I don't keep it out all year round. I do kind of tuck it away into a little Tupperware, not a Tupperware, but a Rubbermaid bin, and kind of recycle everything out, and it actually makes it fun when you kind of pull it out again, right? It's kind of new. It's just like my decorative pillows on my couch. I kind of try to change them up as well as the seasons go on. But again, these are things that I'm learning. I'm still, you know, perfecting my home decor. I know it sounds crazy, but you know, the first few years you dedicate it, you know, for your kids, and then, you know, you kind of fall into your groove for everything, your style, who you are, and even your home, I think. So here I was just wondering whether or not I wanted to add those Prima Sade crystals, but it just didn't go with the flavor of this art piece. It just needed to be neutral and more raw, more organic, as I hear everyone saying. So I think we're coming to an end almost. I didn't have enough battery to do it, and believe me, there's so much cut out here. I know it sounds like there's not, but there is. There was so much going on, and the fun part is almost happening, and here I'm just going to be painting up the outside frame and using a lot of this gold type paint. And the other reason I really like the gold paint is because metallic paint bubbles up on itself when I apply the heat tool to it. And I love it because it's almost like a natural aging, a natural cracking of the paint. It's probably dangerous. And you shouldn't try this at home, kids. But I do really love the raised bubble burnt effect that the paint naturally does, because I believe that it's got true metallic properties. And then once I go over, you know, a few of the edges with a more dry brushing technique with the lighter white blue tone, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love it, because I'm totally mimicking what I've seen in the stores. And yeah, loving it. The two flourishes that I'm going to be working on soon are from Michael's, and you see one up there on the top right corner. And I need to go back and pick up some more, because I believe I've used up all of my bird cages and all of my flourishes, and I love them. They're pretty thin and decent looking, and they handle well. They handle well under pressure of glue, of paint. Everything I've done to them, they're pretty good. Except for one of the words, the together that I had showed you at the beginning, it kind of snapped in two places and I had to hot glue it, but it's okay. Once I alter something and use it, I'm sure you won't be able to tell. And so I'm just painting both sides, because I know they're going to kind of peek up through the sides or the edges of my picture frame. I don't want them to just sit tucked in. I just like that kind of dimensional effect of kind of putting them off center. And so here's where I think when you see me drop this piece when I'm doing it with the heat gun again, I think I burnt myself. But you know, I should have used tweezers. But it's all right. It's all right. Everything worked out well in the end. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you get inspired to go and alter something for your home. Yeah, you know, find something that works for you. Maybe it's not, you know, the sea seashell type beachy theme. Maybe that's not your thing, but just try it out and see how you like it. The best part of it is just getting lost in that feeling, the feeling of creating, the feeling of, you know, being proud and saying, you know, look what I did. Or at least that's how I feel. Here I go with this paintbrush. You see, that's why the edge is yucky. Yep, the last thing I do on this recording is add some glossy accents so I can tuck in some more of that thick twine around the edge of that picture frame, and I love the way it turned out. And I hope that you guys love it too. Stay tuned for some really nice still shots, some close-ups to the details, and big hugs to all of you, and thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day.